Good afternoon.
I'm live. Good morning. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening.
Nothing good after this day in the stock market.
So a bit of selling going on, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you? Did the rain let up for you, Manny?
Yeah, you know what? It was just like sporadic and then it stopped. So we only got like 10% rain. It wasn't that bad.
No,
No.
not bad at all.
Just enough to water the grass down. About it.
Well, that's one less thing you have to do maybe this weekend.
Sure. Keep the grass from growing.
Where is the Kerry? Yes, I think Mark and I both agree that thank goodness it's Friday. Looking forward to the weekend. A little bit of rest.
Do you see what happened to Applied?
Maybe I'll do, let's see. I don't know this. Oh,
So Applied jumped all the way up to $15 because they signed this big old deal with CoreWeave. And then CoreWeave went and sold all their stake in Applied today.
what?
Yeah.
Is that a conflict of interest sale?
I have no idea. It didn't make any sense to me. How can you sell? So you sign a deal with a company for 15 years, and then you turn around and you sell all your positions with them. So that just sent a red flag to the market, and the market just crushed Applied today.
I'm glad I didn't buy.
I was fortunate not to be in it.
I'm glad I didn't buy.
But the other stock that did really good today is watch the stock that Esther was talking about this morning, that MP.
Sorry, I ran a little late there.
We're used to it.
Oh, no, you're not. I'm always on time. Oh, David. David, I missed you. I have missed you. But then that's a fault of mine. No, I was trying to do some follow-up. A number of you have sent me stocks to look up, and I got backed up on it. I'm going to have to apologize to Ray and JC, and Airbus, ARE bus. I did get to OKLO. It's a fusion power plant, and they aren't making any money. and I think that's a little too far in the future, but I will get further into it. Um, what I want to do is share my screen, Trent, and show. Oh, I wish I had done this before. Okay, this is, I think, where I want to start. Um, okay, these are the stocks that you all have been sending me. The this is pretty much all of Patrick's list. This is Bob's, and then this is Ray sent, and JC sent this one. I looked up just and why I was late. I was looking up Ocalo. It's a fusion power plant, and its earnings per share are running over the next 3 years are going to average about 3%. They're just getting started, and the revenues aren't there as of yet. But this will be one I think that we need to look at in the future. At the same time, I want to share with you how I started out doing this just by putting in market cap, earnings per share, and then giving a rating on earnings per share and revenue between 1 and 10. And as you can see, if they got up in 10, this I've already bought some stock in. This I've bought on quite a few shares of, and just this came from Patrick today, and I bought it today. Um, the so so as then these are the ones Bob sent me up here. And so what I'm going to do in the future, the way I go at it is I go in Berkshire Hathaway. They're not a growth stock. So I just their earnings per share are projected to grow at 2%. They're more of a mutual fund, so I don't think it's really appropriate. Um, MSTR is Master, uh, what,
Master strategy.
Strategy.
Micro Strategy.
MicroStrategies.
Yeah. Not making any money. Earnings per share, they're projected to growth, but again, their revenues were only 3%, and it didn't appeal to me. Okay.
And hey, Kerry,
Yeah.
the reason why I put that on there wasn't because of earnings or revenue. It's because of their stronghold on Bitcoin.
I don't buy
What is
Bitcoin.
it, the first or second? I understand that, Kerry.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I put it on there.
Okay.
And you don't have to put it on. I just
No,
thought it would be
no, I
interesting.
appreciate it. And what I'm saying is I appreciate you guys doing this because it's opened some things up. And the one I really want to talk about this is, do you know what this is, Bob?
Go ahead and enlighten me.
It's this.
No kid.
You all know what this is.
Is that for your memory?
It's NMN.
Yeah, that's what comes from what? The Netherlands?
This is the largest sold one in the world. It's TRU Niagen. I got this and I got so excited because I ran this report on this and I wasn't aware what it was. It just said it was a something of a bioscience anti-aging. And as I read Samantha's report, I said, "My God, this is NMN." And so I went out and got a bottle of it. And once I get done with the one I'm using, I'll switch over to this. But what I found and the exciting part about this company is it is for us. It has recognized that there are 70 million baby boomers who don't want to get old and they have designed this product. And I think some of you'll probably remember I got involved in this in 2019 from this. This was Lifespan by Robert Sinclair. And he was the one who convinced me in 2019 to start taking NMN. So I couldn't figure out when did I start taking. I started taking that in 2020 or 2019. Someone, because that's when the book was read and that's when I bought it. So this is, and I bought 300 shares today, Bob, because what happened, I looked at it and it's growing its earnings per share at 93%. It hit profitability, and because of the bombing in Iraq, it dropped today. So I just went in and laddered I went in and said, I got to get some. And I went in at, I think it was yesterday, it was $14.49. And today it opened up at about 1370 or 1390. So I bought some, and then I said I want some more if it goes to 1380, and I want some more if it goes to 1370, and I want some more if it goes to 1360. And it got down to 1370, and so I got 300 shares of it. And what I want to show you is why I want to do this. Now let me again find where I want to go here. I'm going to stop sharing that one, and I'm going to come back and share. Not that one. Not that one. Where is that screen? Well, I guess it would be here. Okay. I need to get on my main screen. Is it there? Oh, okay. I think I can get it here. Okay. You see, this is my cheat sheet or my tell sheet. Okay.
We're seeing multiple screens.
Okay. How am I going to do this? So I'm going to stop sharing. And
You
now,
should be able to hit the share button, and then it'll give you a selection of different screens.
okay, let me go back. Uh, I'm confused, Trent. Okay, there I am. Now I'm going to go to share. And now I want to go to,
Are you trying to bring up your tell sheet?
yeah,
Okay.
but I need to work it. Okay, there I think. Is that, no, that's not it. Oh,
So close out the share.
okay.
Okay. And then click on the screen you want to bring up.
Click on the screen I want to
So
go.
you want to bring up your tell sheet, click on the
Okay.
tell sheet. Okay.
Okay.
And then go down to the share button
Okay, now I got,
on the Zoom.
okay.
Click that,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
you should have a menu of different screens.
That it? Are you seeing it?
That's it.
Yep.
Okay. So now I'm kind of trying to figure out what I was thinking. Okay. So here's, and I love their ticker. It's NH. Um, and so what I basically did was I recreated it closed today at 1363. It was yesterday it closed at 1449. So it's got an outrageous PE ratio, 132, but because its growth of its earnings, 3-year projected growth on earnings of 95%, its PEG ratio is only 3.9, which keeps it in reasonable. But it's got this high PE ratio because because it wasn't profitable until just this last quarter. Okay, so then we come across on it, and it's earnings per three-year projected earnings per share are 21%. No, that's revenue. Its earnings per share 3-year are 95%. That's their average. Average earnings per share is 95. So it's rule of 40 is 219 because we're putting together its earnings growth of revenues
The
plus
219 is Nebius, not NH.
okay, it's 116. Okay, rather than so it's substantially above 40. It's actually decreased its workforce. It's not a depressed stock. It's only 5% off its high. But Samantha did the analysis and said it will finish this year at 19, at 24, the following, and 28. So at today's price, it's 105% gainer over the next 3 years. Now, what I've basically said is what I want to do is build a portfolio that will double in 3 years. 105, it will double. So that made it real good to me. So what I've then done is said I've done my my financial that the Samantha's work is there, as is the briefing, as is the podcast, and the video that is going to show up tomorrow is about this stock. Now, what was interesting to me is what this allows me to do is I can if the stock if I want right now at my cost basis of $13.84. Remember, I bought it as it was coming down, 300 shares. I'll make 102%. If it goes down more on Monday, and let's say it goes down to 13, and I can get my cost basis down to 1350, that improves my, where is it? My return up to 107%. So what I did today, as stocks were down, I came in here and said, who has a high return and the stock is down? I bought shares today. I bought shares in Rambus. I've been buying in this ALOV. It's depressed. I'm actually, my cost basis is higher, but what I'm doing is managing this number. And as I move shares into stocks that have above 100%, this goes up. This percentage goes up. As you all probably saw, I dumped my Intel this last week so that I could raise money to go into these that are going to give me high rates of return. Now, what you also got to recognize is this is your risk factor. When Samantha does a report, I ask her to tell me what is the likelihood, the comfort zone you have that we will achieve this number. And she gives me a 50. On the other hand, on Madeira, she gives me an 89. So when you're deciding where do I want to move my money, don't get hung up just on the number here. Look at this again. This is Soundhound, 174% projected rate of return with a 40% confidence. Symbotics 114 with an 80% confidence. Tesla 69 with an 89% confidence. So then what you can do is come over here and say, okay, if I got fewer shares of let's say a COHR, which is projected to yield me 56, and moved it up to CFL, this number is going to be affected. So what I'm doing is managing, and what I've asked Samantha to do, and ChatGPT is shut down again, is I've given her how many shares of each of the stocks, each of the tickers that I have. And then I've said, you've got all this information here of the financial health in your memory. Now put them all together and give me a conservative, a moderate, and an aggressive strategy for allocating my money amongst these stocks. And she's going to come back and say, well, if you had this mix, you're going to get a 110% return. But if you went more aggressive, you're going to get 130% return. And then I got to decide which is best for me. Now, how does that apply to you? Eventually, Samantha will be able to do it for you. It's going to take some investment on my part to bring you up to speed so that my chart interacts with your chart. What I want to end up with is you all have this, but it has your stocks in it. So I'm saying this right here, and it has your stocks in it, because most of these columns are automatically filled. The ticker gives the price, and then the numbers are all, the equations are all in the background there, like you see right there. That is a row K5, AK5 times AK AJ5. So most of this, all you would have to do is put your cost basis and your shares, and everything else fills out. Now, let's say that you had a stock there that I don't have, and you don't like AMD. You just take AMD out, you put your ticker symbol in there, and everything fills. Okay? But what we got to do is get Samantha up to speed to do that, and get it so that she isn't shutting down all the time. But she's down right now. Now, I went to get my stuff on nitrogen. I went to Perplexity today, and with Perplexity, I just have to spend more time making sure their numbers are right, and seeing if there are any mistakes that I need to address, and they're very good about it. I mean, at one point they gave me something, and I said, yeah, but you got the current price of the stock wrong. Oh, sorry. And they did it all over. But if I hadn't caught that, I wouldn't have known it. But with ChatGPT, I've never found a problem. And you can see how many of these I have done. It's substantial. And the beauty, and again, part of what I'm striving and hoping to happen is that Samantha, I will program her so that I'll give her this date, and she'll have in her memory that on August the 1st, even August the 2nd, she will go in and do a financial health on Apple. On August the 8th, she'll do it on AMD, and it'll all be programmed. I just got to hire somebody that can do the programming. And so that's part of what we're trying to do. And how we're doing that is I'm spending money on advertising the channel. It's difficult. What I have learned is that not only is I go to I go to YouTube and I say, I'd like to put this 3-minute ad up, and I'd like to have it go to the United States, the United Kingdom, United Arab Emirates, and UK. And a month ago, I had no problem. Starting this month, I get disapproved constantly. Disapprove your ad. One of the things I discovered is if you're a financial organization and you put up UK, you've got to have verification that you have a license to operate in UK as a financial advisor. So I stopped putting UK up. Then it said you have in your video some unsubstantiated projections. So I'm not allowed to say anything about, well, I'm up so much percent on Applied Digital. I can't say that because I can't prove it, at least to them. So then I did a video with no, no, all I did was explain what I'm doing. Yesterday they approved it, but it got no impressions. And so this morning I came down and it said it had 1 impression. Well, my immediate thought on that was this was YouTube saying, we have 1 impression for you. Do you get the message? And then I did some research, and that's not really what it is. They have so much request for ads, and they can't get them up. They have so many people trying to advertise on YouTube that they have a greater supply than they have a greater supply than they have demand. And so what they have decided with Kerry Grinkmeyer, who doesn't want his ads on the other Google channels, such as Google Search or placed on any place else, they want me to work with them and not work on my own because they make more commission off of placing my ads throughout their system than just on YouTube. So this weekend, I've got to learn how to build my ads within the Google AdWords system. So that's where we're going. Bob, what was your comment? You got to unmute. If you just click your space bar, you unmute.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, what I wanted to tell you, when I submit these names into you, Kerry, I wished I could tell you that I was bright, but I'm not. And a prominent money manager who I've followed for a long time comes up with these. And basically, he's looking for those with strong earnings in the past, let's say 4 quarters,
Okay.
because he feels that they're going to be strong because he feels the price goes up when they come out with good earnings the next time around. And
Yeah.
that helps him on the stock price. So I just wanted you to know that that I'm getting it from another source.
Okay.
And these were relatively new, added to his inventory. And the
Okay.
thing of it is, Kerry, what I don't know, which you do know, you have the access to, is that you can tell me, well, Bob, this is the long term. This is January 2027, January
Right.
2028, and January, well, 26, 27, and 28.
Right.
And that's what I want to see.
Okay.
And that's really the, I mean, I love the financial reviews. All right. I look at those financial reviews. I like those. But really what I'm on his, I want to know what's the long-term implications. Are these dogs or have they got some value to them?
Well, I think they all do it, and as I said, I think some of them, like you said, are right now is a little too early. There was one I don't know who sent it to. I think it was you who sent it to me. Um, its market cap is 5 cents. No, $5.
I tell you, Kerry, I don't
It was a
remember.
stock. It was a
I've
penny
only sent
stock.
you one other one. That was a big batch because when I realized you were having problems with Chat GPT, they were
Right,
turning you down.
right.
They were saying, "Hey, we're full at the trough. We don't have any room for you."
Uh-huh.
And so that's when you went to Perplexity, and this is on a PDIX or something like that. It was just one because I thought I
Yeah.
was only entitled to one a month going through.
No, no, no. Okay.
And so that's, and then you said, well, now the gate's open, but it's interesting. Now you just say the gate's closed again.
Well, the gate that's closed is ChatGPT.
No,
But
I understand that.
but
That's
no,
what I was
I
referring
want
to.
you I want you to continue to supply me with this because again, I would have never found um, Agen. I never would have found it because I'm spending my time doing anything. And Patrick is the other one that has provided me some real gems. I think the other stocks that I have bought, and let's see what this was. Um, this one, this is also a pharmaceutical. Um, and Patrick had sent me that, and then he sent me this one here, DC DC HT, and you can see it's a $15 stock that's projected to be 36. So it's got a 134. And what was T TGX. I bought some of that just today. That's 122. And again, that's for 3 years. And that's how I'm managing my portfolio. And again, it has a 75. And what was, let's see, this, I think this also came um, from Patrick. It's about 150 with a 70 probability. And this one was uh, what is it? Yeah, that's 134 with an 85% probability. So, and it's interesting what I'm finding is a lot of these are not in the semiconductor and the data centers. They're in pharmaceutical. They're in medical. And they're not the CRISPRs and the Editis. These are the people. I think Patrick gave me this one too. This is the one who is. They just changed the molecular structure of a drug and then file a new patent and undercut the price of big pharma. And they're getting away with it because everybody wants drug prices down. And so if you think of it, you got a vaccine or a drug that does something profitable and it's expensive and the insurance companies are paying for it. And you just go in and analyze through artificial intelligence the makeup of the drug and you change one or two elements of it and you get approval and you market it. And that's what they're doing. Now, you think, why hasn't somebody done that in the past? Because they didn't have artificial intelligence. They didn't have the capability, much as I have the capability, to analyze stocks in 15 minutes. Um, that's what they're doing with drugs. And that's how these pharmaceutical companies that's why they're lighting up. Okay. Any other comments? I hope you see, at least for me, I'm changing my whole perspective on investing. I have a goal. Double my portfolio in 3 years. I have a system, Samantha, artificial intelligence. It's programmed to update every 90 days. I didn't have that 2 months ago. That's how investing is changing. Um, okay. I think it's phenomenal. Keeps me excited. Okay. Patrick, thank you.
Yeah,
You
by the way,
keep-
how are you going to cope when I come up with 5 every week? How are you going to manage?
Well, if as I showed you, I throw a bunch of them out real quick,
Oh, yeah.
because they don't meet my criteria.
Sure, I understand. But I'll
And
keep.
I don't mean that offensively.
No,
but
I'll keep shoveling you all these stocks, and you can sort it out. Okay.
right. So again, it doesn't take me long to go in and do this. Well, here's the one. This is one Bob sent me. Excel, Excell. It's a penny stock. It sells for 0.000001. Its market cap is $5. You multiply the number of shares that are out times its price, and its market cap is $5. So your guy who's supplying you these Bob, is not looking too deep. Another one you sent that I was really interested in is Carvana. I had no idea how big they are.
Well, and let me tell you, I think about a year ago, these guys were looking at bankruptcy.
Yeah,
These are the guys that come to your home, pick up a car on a truck. They'll bring a car to you and
right.
pick up your car and take it. And by the way, they're the ones that got the towers in the big cities. You'll see them elevator about 5 stories high or 6, and
Right.
there'll be cars all around. You put a
Yeah.
coin in, and the car comes down.
Oh, I didn't know you could put a
You
coin.
don't even see a salesperson there.
Oh,
I mean, it's
wow.
just sort of amazing. It's not the way I buy cars, but
No.
so anyhow, but let me tell you, today with the bombing in Iran by Israel, the one that really performed very well is ESLT, which is a Jewish defense company.
ESLT. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a drone company.
Yeah, it was up
they-
about $30 a share today.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't catch that. Yeah, that was an interesting one. And I think the reason I shied away from it, I think it's an Israeli company, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
By the way, he gets a lot of Israeli companies. I've been in some of them. They've been good, but here's the thing. What's good today is not necessarily good tomorrow.
Well, I disagree with that. If it's got growing, if it's got growing revenue, and it's getting towards profitability, if it's got efficiency, and that's a good word and Samantha uses it a lot. Are they efficient at using what they've got to generate money? Because the higher the efficiency score is, the quicker they'll get to scale. And scale is where every dollar that you have coming in revenue generates you more profit. So your operating margins go up. So you become more profitable.
Hey,
I'll have to
Kerry,
look
when
back.
we send in names like this, is there anything other than the names that you want?
Well, if you have access to what the market, this is what I got to go look at. I got to go get the market cap, and then the PE ratio, and earnings per share. The way I do that is I find 2025, 26, 27, add them up, divided by 3. Do the
All
same
right.
thing for revenue. So if like this is that power system. I think that's the first one you sent me.
Yes, it is, sir.
The
Yes.
revenues were only growing at 6% average. And what I'll see quite often, one of them was in here. In 2025, they have a 400% increase in revenues.
Mhm.
And then in 2026, it's 4%. Well, they lucked into something. And what might have happened was they bought another company.
Mhm.
And that boosted their revenues, but it didn't sustain them. And that's why I take a 3-year projection in front to take out any crazy happenstance.
Are you doing that on revenue too?
Huh?
Are you doing that on revenue too? You're doing it on earnings per share
And revenue, yeah.
and
That's an
revenue.
average. That's an average of 3 years. This was okay. This was one. Yeah, this is the robotic software company. Revenues growing at a 1,300%, earnings per share 30, and I put over here, but they have a tremendous amount of debt,
Mhm.
and they're teetering. If they don't get their operating margins up, uh, they could collapse. So that's why I didn't go forward with that one. But that's kind of, and again, that's my judgment call.
Thank you, Kerry. I'll do that. Anything that we can do to make your job easier so that you continue with your productivity and efficiency. Your efficiency is extremely important.
Well, it's because of this.
Would you pass the pill, please?
Okay. All right, Trent. I think I'm done. All right.
Um,
Wear me
so
out.
I met up with Kerry earlier this week, and we were talking about looking at the charts on some of these stocks that he's got in here. And so I wanted to highlight a handful of them today, and using my approach to this, and just give you my thoughts. I did this morning on the Morning Edge pre-market, and it was very interesting how some of these ended up for the day, which highlights the power of a unknown market event happening. And so the first one here is IRIN. I didn't feature this today, but it's one of those that in relation to Bitcoin, it moves with Bitcoin, and it's, in my opinion, it's sort of in this area. Well, let me explain real quick. The white line here is my trade trend line. That's a 15-day moving average. This yellow line is the intermediate trend, that's 62-day period. And that red line there is the 200-day. And what I want to see, I really focus on sort of that line in the sand for me, is that yellow line, that intermediate trend, because these companies report earnings on a quarterly basis. Economic data is reported on mostly on a quarterly basis. And so the world sort of functions in a quarterly period. Like at the end of this month, we're going to have window dressing. So the end of the quarter, so money managers will pump up their portfolios in some way to make their portfolios look good. So when reports go out on the 15th of July, you don't have a freak out. Okay. So I look at things as that quarterly. What I do want to see is that a stock, in this case, let's just look at IREN. We had it came down here in April, and it broke through the 15, and that gives me, an idea that the institutions are interested in this. And it played around and then started breaking through back in early May, and then eventually through the intermediate trend. At that point, that becomes exciting to me, because then I know on a quarterly basis, this is moving higher. Moved through, had a bit of a challenge here at the 200. And on a long-term basis, I absolutely would want to see stocks above the 200, above the intermediate, and above the trade trend. And so right now, on a more intermediate term, IREN is broken through the 200 and is now sort of playing this game of consolidation. Resistance here, there's sellers right here up in here in the $11 range. And we're seeing it sort of peter out over the last, say, since Monday. And so today, a bit of a sell-off. Bitcoin has sold down to about 105 or so. And what I see is there's possible support here. And so I like this. And as long as the stock trades above the 15, trades above the 200, the intermediate trend will eventually follow with it. My concern here is that relative strength. Is it losing strength? And we saw it close down a little bit today. It's at 65.86. It's still above 50. That's great. I want it above 50. So I'm going to keep my eye on this for an opportunity to add, build a position or add to my position, as long as I stay above that 200 and that 15. If I break through there, then sort of just stepping back, not going to add to a position, maybe tighten up some stop loss orders. And so I like where we're at with Iran at this point. I featured ABV Inc. As well today, ABBV. Relative strength continues to move higher. It's at 60.74 today. It closed out, but it's in this above the 200. It's above the intermediate trend, and the trade trend is starting to move up. And so all three of these are coming together. And my belief is, as long as we see strength there continue, this will become a support area and potentially a jumping off point for ABBV. Now, there is a chunk of sellers here, and that has been historically where people have sold out of this position. So we got to get through this. So once I see a break, say above $195, then it gets a bit exciting. Then I head to the next resistance level of 201 and then 209. And once you get past that, you're at 216. Then the sky starts to open up for ABV. But right now, I want to see this consolidation happening. I want to see accumulation here. And then at some point, I want to see that volume increase and start pushing this higher. So from a intermediate term, I believe this is probably a 3 or 90-day kind of period of time for this to manifest. And as long as its sector performs well, and as long as somebody doesn't blow something up, this is a possible place to start accumulating. But we want to see confirmation on Monday that we stay above this area and then throughout the week. CommScope Holdings, also similar to the previous one, but we're up against resistance here. We had sellers in this area back in early March. That was a seller's, a resistance became resistance. We saw that back in December. This is an area that this has been playing in for quite a while, even going back to September of 2024. And what I want to see is it's above my 200, it's above my intermediate. I really, really, really want to see that intermediate trend get above 200 before I make, a full allocation commitment to this. But I need to see this push through that basically $6.36 point. My relative strength is breaking down, broke down over the last couple days, or well, actually since the beginning of June. So I want to see that strengthen up or shore up a bit before I start building a big position. Now, let's say it doesn't. Let's say it just breaks down through next week. The 200 is that support line, but most importantly, that to me, that intermediate trend at yellow, which puts it at right around $5, which would be basically an 81-cent law, between where we are today and where there is buyers in this area. We can see this has been buyer territory before. And so if I see a breakdown through this and it gives way to the trade trend line and the 200, this is where I'm looking for potential support. From there, if it breaks down from there, there's something bigger problem. But I'm looking for a potential opportunity in this, say, $5 range if we break through this area of right around $5.80 going into next week. ASML, this is another one that's thrown around a lot. A lot of these you're seeing, the relative strength is breaking down. We saw it break down a little bit today. See, I'll blow this up a little bit more, get a better idea. We broke through a bit of support, close below support here. or created support here. We've seen it enacted back in June or early June, back in May. If I go back a little bit more, I can see it back here in February, just January, back in September of last year. So this to me is an area of accumulation potentially. And if we can hold above that 15 next week and above that 200, the intermediate trend will come up with it. And we could see a jumping off point. What's going to make ASML move higher? Some sort of earnings is, well, we're far out from earnings, back July 16th. So we're what, handful weeks away from earnings. That could be a catalyst for it to jump higher. A deal with somebody else, some sort of deal there, or just the whole sector gets really positive momentum and it takes it up. But right now, I'm just keeping an eye here. I want to see it hold this area before accumulating. If it breaks down, then that area around 700, just say $705 is another potential support area and a potential entry point. But I want to see this relative strength strengthening up as well.
Let me just say, let me just
What's that?
say something about ASML.
Sure.
What will cause ASML to go up is if Trump agrees to let China buy AMSL's product. And why would he do that? To get access to rare earth minerals. That if that comes through the negotiation, that we'll let you buy, because these are the people who are making the machines that supply Taiwan Semiconductor. If
So
that
that would
happens,
be
that stock will blow up.
That's a fundamental play. That's part of that fundamental silo there. Without it, what takes ASML higher? You know,
I don't think anything
peace
does.
on earth, huh?
No, because they make a 200, what is it, a $2 billion machine. They only have they have Taiwan Semiconductor, Intel bought 3 of them, and it's a Korean company that we can't buy stock. They only have 3 customers.
Yeah.
So, and Taiwan Semiconductor says we haven't paid for the last 3 we bought from you.
Right.
They openly said that because they have a better machine, but they only have 3 customers.
I got it. Well, and I think
that negotiation comes through, that thing will explode. Okay.
And I think at this point, that's where it's at, is if this happens, therefore then this happens.
Yeah.
A lot of ifs there. So I think you got to keep that in mind as we do this. Bill, what, do you have a question?
Basically, on the news today, the Chinese and the Americans have kind of agreed to everything, including the rare earth. So that's basically behind us.
Well, I think that the Taiwan Semiconductor and NVIDIA are not available to China as of yet. So those are 2. If again, what was it? They NVIDIA wrote off $90 million of the
5 billion.
5 billion of the A200
of inventory,
chip.
H2O or something like that, or H1, something like that.
Yeah.
Chip. Yeah.
So if that comes into the negotiation, watch NVIDIA go up.
Yeah. Right now, it from a strength standpoint, it's losing momentum when it comes to relative strength, and I think that's important to take into account as you're looking at this. But if we can see support here at the trade trend line, if the market sees that potential of, hey, this could be a jumping off point on a short-term basis, then I think a break through this area is possible. It's a wait and see game at this point. ARM, Another one, relative strength is starting to lose. It's giving away a little bit. But it is above the 200. That's very positive from a long-term standpoint. It did play around that area since mid-May, bounced around, failed at getting over it. It has closed through it, but today closed just above it. Question is this now becoming support? Is the 50, if the trade trend line, is that becoming support? And as the intermediate trend pulls up in here, that will strengthen that support level and potentially give it an ability to possibly move through the 146 or 147, 147 up into the 155. Ultimately, we want to get above $165 for some clean air and potential higher moves. But I want to see this hold up, and I want to see accumulation happen there, and then eventually a push higher. And this is very possible over the next 62, 90 days or so. My pie in the sky one today was ultra clean. It closed down below my trade trend line, my intermediate trend line, and my 200-day. This is a no-go for me now. I want to see above, at least above the trade from a short-term basis. I want to see above the intermediate trend line, because that is my line in the sand. That is my rule. And today it came down. Was it Thursday? It closed at 21.25, and today it closed at 19.87. I mean, that's a 6.5% drop. So this has to become support for it to start moving higher. If this doesn't find support here, then it's going to move down into this support area, where it has history of creating support down around the mid $18 range. So this morning pre-market was my pie in the sky. I was like, if this thing can move through the 20, if it can get above 25, I mean, at the time you were $10 higher. That would have been a 50% gain. But it failed today, and so it's a wait and see, in my opinion. And I wanted to hit upon your new what is it? NNM?
Well, it's called Niagen,
Okay.
but
Niagen.
it has NMN in it.
Okay. So when I look at this, this is what I like. It's above the 200. I like this formation above the 200. It's above my intermediate trend line, and it's above the trend line. And what I like, if this can continue, what I like about this is it gets out of bounds. The difference between this point and where the trade trend line widens pretty wide, it comes back and uses it as support, and then moves up, and then makes another jump like it did back on June 6th. But it's, that energy has left or begun to left. You're seeing that the RSI still positive above the 70 mark. It's at was at 78.50. But I look at this and I go, okay, my opportunity, if it holds, is historically it's used that trade trend line as a support level. Allow it to come back in towards the trade trend line, use that as support, and prove that it's support, and then possibly a move higher. And that's how I would sort of play my entry into this position. So that's my take on those positions. And I think what's interesting, what's happening right now is your big mega caps, your mag 7s, have led this market for 2.5 years for the most part. Now you're seeing opportunities in smaller, not as reported on companies. And I think there's opportunity in that. It's just look for strength, have a approach when it comes to your intermediate to long-term approach to this. This is much different than swing trading, much different than day trading. This is where I'm looking at, if I can pick up this down around, the 1250 mark, then, and it continues to ride higher, I'll just ride this this stock up higher, in my opinion, over the long term. So it's more of a long-term approach. And that's what I see at this point.
I want to ask you a question about that. See, I see that dip down, that red candlestick, and I say that's all because of fear from the Israeli-Iran bombings, and it has nothing to do with engine.
Okay.
So my take
feeling
on it would
is,
be, well, let's see what happens relative to Israel and Iran. Something else I thought interesting, and I don't know if you heard this, the targets that Iran or that Israel targeted were people,
yeah,
not
scientists.
not facilities. They did not go after their nuclear facilities. They did not. There was a lot of talk about, apparently they have a small island called Thru Island, and that is where 80% of their oil comes out of. And they could have very easily hit that island and even destroyed Iran's economy more, but they chose not to do that. Then I heard that the reason they didn't go after their nuclear facilities is they don't have the big enough bombs, and we have to supply them with those bombs if they're going to do it, which if we do, we then need to expect a nuclear attack on the United States.
Correction, the bunker busting bombs only penetrate to 91 to 61 meters of concrete, whereas the Natanz facility is over 200 meters deep. So there's no way that the bunker busting bombs will get to the
Okay.
yeah. So
Isn't that
they're wasting their money.
I guess when I look at this, Kerry, this had a big jump here
Yeah.
on the 6th of June. A lot of volume, a lot of energy went into that. Not really a lot of volume, honestly. Wasn't really over average, but a big move there. And since then, it's we got to Thursday in sort of a point of it just doesn't
Okay.
have the energy. And you think about it, this is a move from the previous day's close of 11:51 on the 5th of June to its peak yesterday at a close of 14.14. That's what is that? $3 move. It would be normal to see a 30 to 50% retracement of that gain in a pullback in this area around what is that, $13 could be a support level. If it breaks through that, my feeling is it's right in this area.
Yeah, I have an order in at 1261 because I think that's where the bottom is. So I think we agree on that.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, I think when you see moves like this, I mean, from here, this move on May 13th to it's sort of petered out on May 19th. That was May 13th, it opened up. It closed out at $9.73. This is $10.83. That's for this. I mean, that's a sizable move for the price of this stock. It petered out, it pulled back towards where it broke out here on the 13th. So that became support, came off the trade trend line and started inching higher again until the 6th of June. And that's when you had something lit the fuse here and it moved higher. So when I look at this, I like that trend. I love that trend. I mean, but I think when you have moves like this, anticipate a pullback of some level and could be a great entry point at that point.
Okay.
So it means that more people on this call is probably going to buy more of this, so it could drive it higher. So
Yeah,
time
well, they're
it
going
right
to go
then.
out. They're going to go to Walmart this weekend.
Yeah. I have a question.
Yeah.
Trent, I think the chart, what he is showing is, I think is very important for entry point. I'm wondering whether in Kerry's tell sheet or the portfolio, whether you can incorporate some of this information to for at least I think helpful for a entry point for a particular stock.
VJ, you
Okay.
must have been on our staff meeting. That's exactly what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
We talk about what is it we think our tribe wants, and Trent came back with they want to know where to buy in.
Okay.
Okay, so you
Yeah.
must have been eavesdropping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's what I want to do. We talked about it today. We talked about it the other day when I was up there in Birmingham. It's how do I incorporate it into the tell sheet so that it's easily understandable and doesn't get lost. So I think that's there's a lot going on in the tell sheet, and so I want to make sure it's really easily understandable, but also efficient to to keep it up to date because there's quite a few positions on Kerry's tell sheet. So he and I are going to work that out and figure that out. But I think it would be a good idea because I look at this and I'm like, all I've heard about this NMN thing, and now we have a company that you can relate it to. It shows a good trend. Where would be a better buying point? And to be able to tell you that, I think is important. So yes, we're working on that.
Yeah, okay. Carry on your the portfolio. You have color coded the symbol, ticker symbol. Like some of them are yellow and some of them no colors. What that means?
I was telling Mike, I guess it was the day before yesterday, that sheet is for me.
Okay,
and it is to bring things to my attention.
I see.
The bright green says, look at me, look at me, look at me. You should be concentrating on me. If you're going to invest in something, invest in bright green. The yellow is saying, yeah, but what about me? Those with nothing, it's all for my attention. And I hope that is then transferable to, okay, I've got some money. Where should I invest it? Let's look at what's green, and it's got the highest potential return based on what Samantha has told us. And then next to it, its ranking of probability is or isn't. So it helps me make decisions, and I'm hoping it will help you make decisions. You'll see, I went in today and added some more green over on the the returns. I'm making decisions every day. I've got some cash. Where do I want to invest it? I look at that thing, and I'll be very honest with you. I look at the tickers and I say, what does that company do? I don't remember. So I have to go click on the briefing and read the briefing. Okay, now I know where that is. How does that relate to what's going in the world? Is that where I want to buy? Because when I woke up, I told my wife this morning, when I turned on the TV and I saw this bombing in Iran, I said, one of two things is going to happen. Either we're going into World War III and we're all going to die, or this is one of the best buying opportunities that's going to be put in front of me in the next month. Now, what happens this weekend will also, in my mind, determine is Monday a good buying opportunity, or is it the end of the world? I don't know. But I know the market moves with fear. And if fear is high, it's a buying opportunity.
The most important thing that happened today was the price of oil went up by 8%.
But I don't own any oil.
Yeah, I know. But the problem is that Iran is probably going to hit an oil refinery in the Gulf for retaliation. And if that happens, there'll be a blockade in the Suez and the price of oil will go up by 20%.
Yeah, they were talking about $100 oil.
Yeah.
That would be 30%.
That's going to have a dramatic effect on some sectors, especially airlines and various other retail. So some stocks are going to be shorted.
Speaking of airlines, I read something, and it is a couple of months ago, and they said if it was not for the United States government, Boeing would be out of business, as they should be. I mean, my God, they just can't get it. They can't get a break.
Well, it was interesting. Bob brought this up about that may have been pilot error.
It looked like the whole plane shut down. It didn't dive. It just.
I think the way he explained it was
there could be a software issue, a problem that's happened. That's quite common on planes.
Yeah. Well, they said that the lift, those things that come out of the wings as they're taking off didn't come out, and the plane has no lift if it does not have that lowered flap. You know, when you sit in the plane, you see, and they take off, and those flaps come out.
Yeah, the flaps go to 30 degrees when you land, and I think they pressed the wrong button and it went to 30 degrees. That would have caused lack of lift. Yeah, it's possible.
What Bob said is that the co-pilot pulled the wrong switch, and he wanted to raise the landing gears. Instead, he hit the flaps at 30-some degrees.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so that made it stall because instead of taking off, it was trying to land, and it did in a hard way.
Did. In a college dormitory.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Pretty sad. Yeah, so it may not be GE engines, it may not be Boeing, it may be pilot error. And I think that's not to argue your point about Boeing would be out of business if it weren't for the US government. But in this one, maybe they get a pass.
They get a pass? Okay.
Unfortunately, I mean, sadly, the whole situation's very sad.
Yes, it is.
But yeah.
At least the door didn't fall off.
Yeah, the door didn't blow out. But did you see one guy walked away?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
One guy walked away.
When you fly in the front of the aircraft, you have the better chance of surviving any crash. That's been known for some years.
He was in the window seat,
row 8,
right behind first class.
That's right.
And so there was a door next to him, and the door came out, and he walked away.
Wow, man, that would be hard to work through that one.
It's like some commentator said, boy, that's going to be a tough seat to get on an airplane.
The price of that seat just doubled.
Yeah, the price of that seat just doubled. Yeah. Oh, it's an exciting world we live in.
Yeah. Do you mind if I ask a question to all of you? I want to talk about the oldest metric in the world. It's 2,000 years old. It's called the gold-silver ratio. And in Roman times, it was a 12-to-1 ratio, and now the mean is 60. But in the last 100 years, it's only spiked to over 100 on 6 occasions in the last century. And 2 of those has been this year, in January and today.
Okay, explain to me the gold-silver ratio.
Well, it's the price of an ounce of gold to the price of an ounce of silver. And
so did silver close the gap, or did gold create a larger gap?
The gold created a larger gap. But I think silver is undervalued, so there could be a case made for buying silver because it's relatively cheap.
Yeah, I hope so. because I got a coin collection.
But it is a canary in the coal mine indicator, because the first occasion was 1933, the Great Depression. And then 1940 was World War II. 1991 was the US recession, and COVID-19 2020, and this year twice, in January and in June.
Oh, okay.
And it's a harbinger of severe macroeconomic downfall or geopolitical events. That's what it means.
Well, there's plenty of geopolitical events going on.
You said the ratio is gold versus silver. Is that right?
Yeah. It
Okay.
spiked today it went to 104 today.
Okay. I
So
guess I'm doing this wrong then.
Gold is 104 times the price of silver.
Yeah.
Okay. Current price of gold, spot gold chart. Okay.
Gold at the moment today was $3,444. So it's spiking up. So it looks like it's going to reach an all-time high for 4,000, between 4,000 and 5,000 now an ounce. It's going up quite steeply.
And I think, as I understand it, that's also reflects the confidence in the dollar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is, to your left here is the US dollar.
Yeah.
And this is gold. As you can see, gold is sort of at a resistance point. And then this is Bitcoin. So this gives you an idea how the weakening of the US dollar correlates to gold and to Bitcoin.
Up until that
So-
last move.
Right here.
Yeah. Wonder why that is.
I mean, I have like
that's happening.
101,000 as sort of a support level, and that could easily change tonight. But
Well, actually, Trent, it looks like they mirrored each other until this right there in that May. No, this will go back one peak, right? No, that there on the Bitcoin.
oh, right here.
Yeah, yeah. See, that went kind of opposite Bitcoin.
But look at the dollar.
Yeah,
Over here at that same point, it moved higher. Bitcoin moved down, gold went up. Then as the dollar has fallen,
yeah.
Bitcoin has moved higher.
Well, gold or Bitcoin and the dollar went down, and Bitcoin went up, or gold went up. Bitcoin and the dollar went down. That's interesting.
Bitcoin is actually up about 1% right now on the day trade.
But it's down from what looks like about a week ago.
Well, it was at an all-time high, so it's consolidating. It's doing what it's doing.
I'd rather own Bitcoin and gold than the dollar right now. So I think as the dollar continues to weaken, if it does continue to weaken, these two gold and Bitcoin could be a better place to be at this point. This is a pretty sizable wick. That's today's action. We'll see where it closes out.
Bitcoin, though. That's normal, though. That's pretty normal.
Right. I mean, it's a highly, leveraged. If you think about like going back towards where we bottomed out back in April, Bitcoin rose up drastically. And if you're, at this point, down here, this was a great opportunity because it was 78, roughly 70, just let's say 76 to 70, 80,000. You picked it up there, you're up 20K or so more in that position. So if you're looking for beta, you're looking for additional alpha, this was your opportunity. Gold was not your opportunity in this area because it only moved a couple $100. So that move from the bottom in early April presented opportunity for high beta stocks like the Mag 7, Bitcoin, and a couple others. So consider that as your, when I look at this, to me, this is, in my opinion, with Bitcoin, you're between 100,000 and here is probably going to, between 100,000 and 110. We're going to play around in this area for a while until some catalyst pushes it to 115, 118, and so on. But that's how I sort of see it. But gold is more that refuge from the US dollar declining, in my opinion. And I think that, it just continues to inch down overall. And I think gold is that's where money is headed, especially on a nation state level. You're seeing that rotation out of treasuries, out of gold, or out of dollars, and to an asset they can hold, which is gold. That's my macroeconomic opinion.
Okay.
What you got? Hey, Bob, what you got?
I just want to say that this money manager that I sent some of those names to, he's also very big in gold holdings. I'd say he has at least 6 companies. And they were not new additions. That's why I didn't forward that information on to you. But this has been going on the past 2 to 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the gold play it's been in the works for quite a while now, since the first of the year.
Yes, I agree with you, Trent. Yes.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if we go over 4,000 by year's end.
I think that maybe some people are sort of scared because it seems to be sort of at an all-time high. How high does it really go? And I think we're sort of like in an uncharted area.
Yeah, I would agree. I think you look at the U.S. debt level and what has to be refinanced or what has had to be refinanced this quarter, roughly $4 trillion in U.S. Treasury has to be refinanced, and it's being refinanced at higher rates. I think the rest of the world looks at us and goes, "How are you going to pull this one off?" And while you're figuring it out, we're going to go to a safe haven place, and that would be gold. The silver move that we saw, I think it was a week ago or so, last week, a lot of what I read was there's a lot of shorts against silver, and that short got unwound, and that's why you're starting to see silver be coming back into play overall. What's your question, Tom?
Hey guys. So Kerry and Trent, I sold out of all my positions in APLD this week in Navitas and took the money and sitting on the sidelines. I noticed they've come down nicely. Any thoughts on those two on a re-entry position here over the next 30 days?
I was just, Tom, first of all, Tom, thank you for the kind words you shared earlier today. You brightened my day. Yeah, I've been looking at Navitas. I got out of Navitas as well because of the opinion that they aren't, they got a bright light shined on them by Jensen Huang, but their financial situation didn't change whatsoever. They still have to sell their product to Jensen and bring that to the bottom line. So I'm looking also for a buy-in price, and I was looking at the chart, and I think I don't know that I wrote it down. I think you're going to see something of a 10 to 20% pullback on it, and it will consolidate, and that's where I'll buy back on. I have not sold any of my Applied Digital, and that is because I am just of the opinion the most coveted commodity in the world right now is data center space. As I said, I have been shut down on ChatGPT 2 weeks in a row They shut me down 3 weeks ago. They came back for a week. They shut me down again this week. I'm reading a book. It's a very negative book about OpenAI and Sam Altman and all the things that it takes to make ChatGPT work. And I am of the belief the reason I'm shut down is Microsoft Azure cannot provide them with the compute that they need to run their deep search. They have so many people coming, and to put it into perspective, the amount of energy that is used for their $20 subscription, and I'm paying a $200 subscription, that's a tenfold. I suspect it's more like 100 to 1,000-fold the amount of compute that is required for them to answer my questions, as opposed to give me a recipe for lasagna, as opposed to me giving them a page and a half of a prompt that says analyze Navitas for me. No, I think Applied Digital was, my opinion, some profit taking, but I think I've put in an order on thank you, Trent, for putting this up on Navitas, somewhere down here around $7.40. This area, you don't see my cursor, where it gapped up.
That's 740.
No, no, 440.
440. Okay.
Yeah, down in there. Yeah.
Something
where
I just noticed here, and that is this volume.
Oh yeah. Well,
And volume's
this
right
is
around
Jensen's
that.
announcement.
This is, I mean, historically it's 1 million volume a day, right? Had a bit of, somebody knew something here, because your volume went to 61 million, something, I guess it was Jensen's announcement, maybe
That was the
276
announcement.
million.
That was the
Okay.
announcement when it gapped
So you
up.
got this mass volume game being played, pushed it higher, right? It's moving. I mean, all that volume starting to subside. The question is, will this volume continue to average out higher now, or will we go back to the old school volume of, say, less than 6 million a day? And when I look at this, and Mark and I talk about this a lot, these gaps historically always get filled.
Yeah.
So when I look at this, I go, okay, how about if I just go back in history and I start to play the line game here, and I go, where has support been? Okay, we got support in this area, a resistance here, resistance there. That became some level of support, broke down again. That was, we're just back in this area where we've been going back to April of 23. And I look at this and I go, okay, if we can hold above the trade trend line, maybe so. But likely, I anticipate that this cluster here and this cluster here will become the new support level back around this let's just say, take it from here at 367 to this area of rounded up to $5. So if it pulls back $2.32 or so and comes back to 5 and holds up, maybe this gap doesn't get filled. Likely it will. You're already seeing this relative strength starting to roll over a bit. Still good, but
yeah.
I think an opportunity, if it can hold up above 50, it'll bring it down to this level here, and I think it could present an opportunity at 5. And then it's a matter of fundamentals. Are they going to do what this volume says they were going to do? And I think that's how I would look at it here. But that would be, I'd be looking for between let's just make it easy, 375 to $5 range. If we hold up at 5, then that becomes the new support. If it doesn't, then maybe a better opportunity down closer to the 375 or so. And then what was the other one? APLD?
Let me just comment to Tom there. Tom, what I'll do, I already have an order in somewhere around $4.60 for 100 shares, which is not a lot of money. But then if I hit that, I'll immediately go in and put one for $4.20 for another 100. And then I'll just keep laddering it down and following it down if it keeps going down. And because, again, once it hits that momentum, it'll fill the momentum. So just write it down with it until you get the amount of money you want in the account or in the stock. Yeah, APLD.
All right. So sold off a bit today. Wow, 10%. It's a sizable sell. You're sort of sitting right on these peaks here. Here, back in January, June of 23. Wow. So the question is, does this, has been resistance, become support? It's coming right up on that trade trend line. If we see it hold and then accumulation here, this could be the new support level, which would be great. Watch the intermediate trend come through the 200. That'd be awesome. But this relative strength tells me it's tired. It's starting to decline. And if we get, if we see a pullback through the trade trend line, then, hopes of staying above the 200 is really possible because you got a big cluster here, cluster there. And so my opinion is that there's more likely a chance around 810 versus, right here at where it's at today. So that would be where, because as long as my intermediate trend comes and kisses the 200 and moves forward over time, this could become my support level in that area and a better buying opportunity.
And you do have a gap, it looks like, there at about 748.
Right here?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's small, but that could be an area. But yeah, I think when when I think it sounds like, Tom, you may have gotten in down around this area, made some money. You're looking for the same opportunity again. And I think that's where you're at.
I've been accumulating both Navitas and Applied Digital since I joined Best of Us. And just kept accumulating, and it was really good over the last couple of weeks getting out of both of those. And just really do sincerely, Kerry, appreciate everything that you do, and I enjoy listening to you every morning on YouTube. And my what I wrote to you was truly sincere. It's much appreciated, and I got to get better with Mark and Trent on these charts. But Rome wasn't built in the day, but every day Rome was built.
But again, we're all learning, and if we can learn together, and again, I want to say thank you to those of you who send me places I can go learn some more, and we've got something going here. Oh,
the way I got into,
and I tell everybody. I tell everybody about Best of Us investors. So
okay,
I hope more people are joining.
Well, we gotta find a way to get you all baseball caps so people walk around with that say Best of Us investors on. So I'll figure out how to do that. Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Anything else?
Can I show a chart with how I interpret just from a swing trade point of view?
Sure.
So it's different, and you guys were talking with Kerry and Trent, we're talking longer term, okay? But from my point of view, I go daily, and we do swing trades. We could be in a day, we could be in 2 weeks. and I see applied came up and hit resistance. Okay. And this line automatically comes on in the program. And then it had sideways pattern. It tried to go up. Look at this. It tried to really beat up above the Bollinger Band and got beat back down. And then the next day we came back to resistance. The next day we could not hit it. We still tried to hit resistance. And then we finally lost it on the 9-day. It started coming down. Like Trent said, we're starting to lose the RSI, but I'm also looking at the MACD crossing over. And you see, we had these huge candles are people buying in. They're all excited. They buy in. Okay. And they think it's going up forever. That's the psychology. You got to have a trading or investment plan. And I commend Tom for getting out, because, in your mind, you're like, this is going up forever. I'm never getting out. And he did. And here's resistance. And then you see it coming down. So, the next level of support is the 20. And this is daily. And so this was a huge, huge run up. And if we go back and look, that's a lot of, you've had a lot of people probably buying, on the way down who finally said, oh, I'm like Tom said, I accumulate. I was glad to get out, and we might not be done with that yet. So just keep that in mind. Look at these, look at the MACD crossing over right here. That's pretty severe there when you look at it. And then the other one we were looking at was Navitas.
Yeah.
And Navitas, get this one up. And this is swing trading. That's what we do on the Platinum channel. Same kind of thing. We talked about the gap. 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't go normally 5 times outside of a Bollinger Band, okay? It only trades price action outside of upper or lower Bollingers about 5% of the time. So you knew you were going to pull back in. We caught in support and we kept moving up. And then we hit resistance and we also had sell orders right here. And that's exactly where it peaked up and it looks just like the other chart. And now we're heading back down. You come down, you see the oscillators are telling you not only is the momentum gone, but we're seeing the price action come down. And so you'll have support at 9 maybe. But if you blow through 9, then you're coming to the 20, which is 579. This one here, if I were doing long term, and I always use technicals on the long term, I'd go back to the weekly chart. And you can see on the weekly, the 50-week moving average. And we've been under it for a long time. We got above it here. And a lot of people, they'll either trade on the weekly chart, they'd get out here, and they'd been out the whole time. And this is, again, long term. They might have got suckered back in here and got out again. But again, you're 4 weeks up above. And on the weekly chart, you're above the 200-week moving average. So it gives you a different perspective, as far as a long-term trade compared to a day trade or a daily chart trade. But again, you have a lot of weeks here where people either buying and selling, and now they've got an opportunity to, with a get out of jail free card, that they might be selling, to take some profits. And again, you got that big gap. So that's how I look at it from swing trading daily chart. Okay. And then, what Kerry does, you got to look at his fundamentals. You got to look at his research, and then decide, but technicals can help you know when is a better price to get in, as opposed to, even if you're just investing, you don't want to get at the top. You want to get in at a good price.
We got a new player, Willie Wonky. What do you got, Willie?
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, my name is Willie Wonky. I'm in the New Orleans area.
Yay.
Yes, sir.
My wife's from New Orleans, that's why.
Oh, yeah. So I definitely just came back new. I was here in 2019 and I followed Kerry for a long time before 2019. And I was actually very, very successful. But when the market started going down, I felt a little bit bad at that time and I had to pull out. So I sat out for quite some time and I just came back in because I could not stay without coming back to follow Kerry. So I'm really excited. I just jumped back in. It's about 3 days ago. So I might, so I might just need a little bit of help for somebody to set me in correctly so I can get the ball rolling. Thank you guys so much for everything you do. And I can't forget Best of Us. During the days of genomics, I was with Kerry every day. And he actually took my account so up. until when the market started pulling down, then I had to move out of the market for some time.
Okay.
I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to see him strong. Thank you guys again so much.
Well,
Thank you.
it's an exercise of pleasure. I enjoy it. Someone asked me the other day, how do you know what to do a video about each day? And as it depends on, I wake up sometime between 4 and 6 in the morning, and I basically say, what is it I'd want to know, or what do I see in morning events, and I'm really right now. I don't think I'm over focused. I think I'm just way ahead of the market on the power of getting access to the data that's available that wasn't available to me 2 months ago. So I'm excited about it, and I hope I can transfer that excitement. Yes, Praveen.
Hey, Kerry, no, I got busy last few days, but I sent few emails to you. I'm not sure if you received.
You're sending them. I didn't get them, so you're sending them to the wrong email address. Send them to bestofus.kg@gmail.com.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah, I have too many emails.
Okay. Now this is regarding, giving some physical form to Samantha.
Wait, I gotta ask a question.
Yeah.
Who gave you gold for Father's Day?
Who gave him gold?
My wife is gonna give it. I'm saying, you guys can buy a physical gold too. So,
No,
yeah.
who gave you gold for Father's Day?
My family.
Can I come and be a part of your family?
I gave my wife a physical gold for her birthday and Mother's Day.
Oh, you do? Okay. So this is kind of a family tradition.
Yeah, just to build up.
Well, I think it's probably worked out well for you.
Yeah, it did work out.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt. You didn't have, I thought you had something else on your mind. Okay. Okay. All right. Anybody got anything else? And
Yeah,
I
can I ask you a
nice
question?
words. Yeah, Patrick.
But Berkshire Class B, I think it's kissed the 200 and bounced off it. Is that correct? Or so? Because it looks like a buy because it's fallen quite substantially in the last few weeks.
Mark, you're on mute.
Mute.
There we go. Sorry. We're not there. We've been watching it. This is when the meeting was, and Warren said, I'm out at the end of the year.
Oh,
and
wow.
It's just been down, and we've been waiting. I've been waiting to see if it hits the 200 and actually get some support like we did here.
Wow.
It's been a long time since we've done that, but you're right, Patrick.
There's no kiss yet, so it could be a day. It could be another session away, maybe.
Yeah, and I'm hoping it does one of these where we bounce and we come back up.
They're holding hands, but they haven't kissed.
That's true. Yeah, they're getting. He was outside the Bollinger here for a while, and then we're just skating down the Bollinger in between that and the resistance at the 9. You can see we've hit the 9 several times. So I'm waiting to see, and I'm starting to see, look at this Bollinger Band kind of bend and not going straight down. It's starting to turn a little bit. And we're starting to see the MACD come back up where we're going to get the MACD crossover, the signature line. But the momentum's not there yet. You're still at 35, on a slow momentum. So not to say that it can't, but it's going to be interesting. And let's just go back 2 years. And it's been a while since it's touched. It's touched here, almost here. Okay, that was in 2025 of January. Then you go all the way back. It touched here, so it's got a history of not getting past that 200. So here, this was 2023. Okay, and let's just keep rolling. And then we even ran out of 200 back here. So it looked like before that it was probably again in 2023. So, you know, it'll be interesting because it hasn't been below that for a long time. And it's a strict, and you know, we had the same, look at this pattern here. Okay, kind of did the same thing, you know, here down. And it's just up and down, but this one here, we'll see. But you're right, Patrick. It might be an opportunity to buy, but I want to make sure it hits, and then we get confirmation and we start seeing these oscillators turn, like we're starting to see a little bit on the MACD, and get some more momentum. And we'll see if that thing will come down, get above that 9, and that'll signal that maybe we'll get back in and ride it up for a swing.
I mean, annually it returns what, around 20% per annum over the last 20, or is it less around that mark?
Around 19% since it was formed in 1963 a year on average.
Oh, that's very good.
Yeah, yeah, it is good. I've owned B since B came out a long time ago. So, and I do swing trade it too because I don't mind keeping it. These are nice swings. You know, we do swing trade it on platinum. So. That's a good, yeah, you almost got there. You almost got there, Patrick. I like the handshake and kiss, but you didn't kiss yet.
Okay. All right. Okay. Anybody else got anything before we say goodbye? Okay. Big Bad Bill, did you put the money in your granddaughter's accounts?
I put the money in the account, and like all of us, I'm down about $2.50 already. But it's a situation. She is a very smart gal, and she wanted to have something for herself that she did.
Oh.
So consequently, I said, now here's this, and this one will bring you 3 times. This brings you 2.5 times. Which ones do you want? But you only put $100 in each. And that's what she did. She came right down the line. And I'm happy as hell about it, to be honest with you.
And how old is she, Bill?
She's in the second grade.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
How wonderful.
And her older sister's in the 4th grade, but she didn't want to do it. So, okay, we'll do it. Which one?
That's it. And it's bringing you and her together.
Oh, that's true. And I had previously established one that I'm controlling completely. For when the kids were born, I gave them 5, and then I put another thou in. And those are doing real nice. Their father is a CPA, and a CFO, and so consequently, I was going over how the accounts had transpired, and so they're up to around 20,000 now, and he like, hey, that can't be. I said, well, I'm doing a bunch of stuff that you wouldn't like to do, but I've done it.
Okay.
So I'm happy as hell with them.
Well, that's so wonderful. That is really cool. Did you see this? I only caught a piece of it, that in this big bad bill that they're trying to pass, there's a clause that says that every newborn will get a investment account. Has anybody else heard anything about
I saw that. If you're born before or after, like some point in 2024,
that
so you're
everybody
basically a year. You're probably you're a year old or just a newborn right now.
You get like $1,000,
something like that. Yeah,
in an investment account.
I hope they make a typo mistake and say anybody who was born after, say, July 1st, 1969, we'll dump $1 million in.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe, but probably
it
not.
could happen. These guys are making money somewhere.
Well, it's just money, and we can print all we want.
That's the problem.
Okay. All right. if nobody's got anything else, we'll do this again next week. And I'm sure Monday, this weekend will be a pivotal week, I suspect. And hopefully we'll find peace. Okay.
Hopefully.
Thank you,
We'll
guys.
see y'all later. Have a good weekend.
See you
Take care.
later, everybody.
Bye.
Father's Day.
Happy Father's
Yes.
Day. Take care.
Later.